Alright, so with Masters Bangkok somewhat soon, I decided that I'm gonna do a tier list for it. I don't know why I didn't decide to do a tier list before I did the round one pick'ems, but this should be easier than just doing the round one pick'ems. It'll be like more in depth kind of. Um, I'm just gonna go team by team. This is not gonna be in order. Like I'm not gonna do like one team here, one team here, one team here. I'm just gonna do it like tier gaps, and then just you can ignore like the bottom ranks or whatever. So starting with Sentinels, I think they'll be in this third tier gap. Um, sorry, they look decent throughout their entire run. Played Thieves. I'm pretty sure I remember this being a decent game. Kind of close, not as close as I remember. This Loud game was really good. Loud looked really good, like really good in form. I was really impressed with Sentinels winning this. I've honestly came out of this game like really impressed with Loud too. Like truly, like Loud looked dominant against these two teams. Played Sentinels like really close, surprisingly. G2 destroyed Sentinels in this series, to be honest. And then Sentinels played this absolutely snooze fest series, except for this like the best game I think I've ever watched. This game was so sick. Me and a bunch of people in the server were watching this together. Um, and then like another snooze fest type of map. But they looked really good throughout. I was expecting them to lose, like gas out after this map, just losing this close series and or map rather, and then they just like kind of just like reset. Like if anything, MIBR like gassed out from that map, which is odd. That's typically like the other way around. And then they played like this decent series. Honestly, like I was expecting G2 to just like sweep them, but it was like a good series. The Haven was kind of bad. Like Sentinels didn't look that great with the ISO Yord comp, but I mean, they strung a few rounds together. So overall, I don't think they are favorites. I don't think they are like going to be terrible. Like I think this is like you're gonna see them go like 1 and 2 go out or get to the playoffs and like just have fun. It's like the best way I can describe it. So moving on to EDG, looking through their run, they played against Nova, who was a team I respect a lot, and they like destroyed them. And Nova could have been nervous here because like Nova looked really good throughout this event. Um, like the 3-4 series that they played, I was really expecting them to beat DRG here, but even then, I think they would have lost FPX. And then, like EDG got just demolished by Trace, which makes like it just gives me a lot of faith in Trace because like Trace looked pretty solid. And then EDG dropped down to this lower bracket, drop a map 14-12, then won 13-10, and it's 13-0. And then they go into this game and 13-0 again on Haven. Like back to back 13-0 on Haven. Just like it's crazy. And then pretty dominant win. 3-0 Billy Billy. I don't remember. I don't think I watched this game. Towards the latter half of China, I kind of just like started back school because I think I was on break during a few of these games and like I was not able to like mess up my sleep schedule and like I didn't have time to like watch back the VODs. I don't think I watched this game, but I mean, three close maps and then a 13-2 just win the event. I mean, I I think they are below Sentinels in terms of tier gap. Realistically, they could be here, but I'm gonna place them here. Just like I feel comfortable throwing them here. Like I don't expect EDG to win. I think there's a chance that they could like build up enough momentum to like run through and like maybe have another upset tournament win. But truly, I don't see it happening. I think they'll just be an okay like Swiss stage team. I think Toronto, like the later in the year that we get, like they should look better. I think I'm not sure. I don't know how to feel about EDG because I think like they looked mid in China, then just owned champs truly, and then like in China they look okay again. So it's gonna be interesting if they just like look really bad in China for some reason, and then just internationally they look legit. I don't know if that's the case or what is going on with this EDG team, but I expect them to be like in this fourth little tier bracket. with easy possibility to go up this like third tier bracket. Moving on to T1. This is a team that I'm really confused with what is going on. Because this team played in Red Bull Home Ground, I believe 5. They won Red Bull Home Ground 5. I believe it was 5, yeah. Like, they dominated their way through this, only dropping, like, a map to Foot and Cloud9, respectively. And now, they, like, looked good throughout the entire bracket. Like, Boom looked really good here. They played everyone 2-1. And then, they get to their upper final game, which will determine if they go to Bangkok or not, and then, for some reason, Carpe is playing instead of Sylvan. And then they drop down to Genji. They play 3-2 against Genji with Carpe as well. And they go into the grand finals with Carpe. Like, there's been no mention of, like, is Carpe starting? Is Carpe playing in Bangkok? Is Sylvan coming back? Why was Carpe playing for their qualification games and not Sylvan? Do they plan on keeping Carpe, like, moving forward? Or are they bringing back Sylvan? Or, like, why was Carpe in place of Sylvan? I also think Carpe was IGLing, if I'm not mistaken. Which makes sense because Stax has said previously that he doesn't like IGLing, if I recall correctly. So it's just confusing. T1 looked like they're putting a lot of stock in the double duelists with Meteor, Izu, and Buzz. With, like, Meteor and Izu just playing a Sentinel on, like, certain maps. And bouncing back and forth between duelist and Sentinel. So I'm just really confused what's going on with this T1 roster. They look okay. They definitely look the least good out of everyone here. They should be favorites for Toronto, I would expect, at least. I think this is a team that's gonna be looking for a Toronto trophy. But not Bangkok. Like, they are gonna need some serious improvements in form. Because based on form, they should be, like, very bottom. Like, bottom 2, I would say. Now, speaking of form, G2. This team is legit. This team is so sick. Their only bad looking series was this, and you can't even really say that it was a bad series. Like, they kind of just, like, picked into a map that they didn't play all event long. Kind of got owned by the just mirror comp. They go to Pearl. Their Pearl comp is really sick with the Vise and Chamber. I really like this idea. It's probably gonna get anti-stratted. Like, I could easily see a team anti-stratting this. But for the meantime, like, it looks really good until then. And Leaf looks really sick on the Chamber. Like, even though he's, like, putting up, like, what looks like decent numbers, like, he's still, like, really good on the Chamber. I didn't really watch this Fracture game. And then, like, I watched, like, the latter half of this Haven, and it didn't look great for Sentinels. It kind of, or, like, I watched most of this game, actually. But, like, Sentinels didn't look that great. Like, the scoreline says otherwise, but they did not look that great with this. And G2 just kind of, like, I expect G2 to pretty safely win the event. They're definitely, like, ahead of the meta, using a lot of Chamber, Yoru, Teho. Like, they're just mixing it up on every map, going with some different ideas. Everyone seems really flexible in the team. Now, speaking of ahead of the meta, this DRX team is playing Teho on, I think it's 6 out of the 7 map pool have been shown and have been a Teho. I think DRX have not shown, like, Bind, which is obviously going to be fine for Teho. Freeing looks legit. He looks like one of the best players in the game right now, especially attending this event. I think he's probably top 10 going to the event, and he just looks really good. Hyunmin, I think is how you pronounce the duelist player's name, looks really good too. Like, statistically, he looks fine or whatever. Like, these are good statistics, not crazy, like Osboss level. Like, looking at Buzz, like, this is more what you're expecting from, like, a star duelist. But Hyunmin, like, he's, like, one of the best just entry players in the game. Like, just, like, looking at his entry and entry pathing, like, he just, like, looks really good. Like even if he's like dying or getting kills, like whatever, it doesn't matter. Like his entries look super good. And then it helps when you have Freeing, Mako, Flashback, all just like really good players. Bane coming back. I was so wrong about this DRX team. Um, to be fair though, I had this team like bottom four of Pacific before the announcement of Bane coming back was made. I was not that impressed with like seeing like three rookies with Freeing, Hyunmin, and Anthan at the time. But seeing Bane come back gave me a lot of confidence because then like he was like a lot of like a big caller, like a big part of the calling structure for that team. And that was a big concern I had with Mako is like the calling concerns. Flashback is really good individually. Freeing looks like I said, top 10 player going into the event. Mako looks like he's in really good form right now. I think Freeing's IGLing as well. Let me see if that's the case. It could be outdated though. Like this might not be updated, truly. But I really like this version, this iteration specifically. Like this 5 of DRX looks really good. And across a 5 map series, Freeing is playing nothing but Teho. And it's just like, it's kind of nice. Like he just looks really good on the roll. And I mean, it's the only Asian he plays, so I mean, it makes sense. I'm really impressed with this DRX team. But I think this is probably the third best team in the event. They look probably the most like clean throughout the entire event of any team. Like they look probably cleaner than G2. But I think G2 have like much higher highs. But like I think there's an upset chance for like DRX actually lifting a trophy finally. And I'm sure that would mean a lot for Mako. It'd be just so unfortunate to see Buzz like playing against DRX and like seeing DRX like finally lift a trophy. Like that would be crushing. Like the same year, like first event DRX like lift a trophy. I'm sure that would be crushing for Buzz. This current iteration of DRX, I have a lot of faith in. Like this looks like just honestly like an upgrade over their last year roster, which looked pretty good as is, which is impressive. Bringing in a new rookie over, I think it's Foxy9, and then another rookie in place of Buzz. And like a last minute replacement with Bane coming back. Moving on to Liquid. This Liquid team looks really good. Like truly, I thought this was probably gonna be like a top 9 team best in EMEA, especially after the series. It's like they just looked so bad. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like Liquid just looked so bad. Like they looked so poor. Like everyone was expecting Apex and Gentlemates, Koi, like Liquid. Like those are like the 4 teams you're expecting at the bottom going into this. And then like so they beat Koi, which I mean that's not that crazy of a game. Like these are kind of like the I think what 10 and 9 respective teams. Then they play against Foot, who's like a top 4 team in EMEA. Like going into this, you would expect them to be like around top 4. They kind of just like slap Liquid around, then they play Apex. Like Liquid are favorite on paper. Oh wait, it meant map 3. That was a dominant map 3. Then they played Giants, who like should look good. Like they played BBL, who like we're now realizing is like a good team. And then they beat Carmine Core, who played Vitality really close. Like Vitality are obviously like a good team. Like just looking at the people on that roster. So Giants X like destroying like not destroying, but like beating KC. It was like okay, so we would expect GX to win this versus Team Liquid. And like Liquid 2-0. Then they beat BBL, who's another team you'd expect to beat Liquid off of current form. Then they play Foot, a top 4 team, where you would surely expect Liquid to lose. And then they win. And then they play Heretics for Bangkok qualification. And you would expect, the second best team of all of last year, pretty much. Minus, like, the first event, Madrid, where it's like easily Sin and then Jinji, then Jinji take the crown of the best team in Shanghai, where Heretics come up to second, and then champs like EDG and Heretics second. So like I would say Heretics were probably the second best throughout the entire year. EDG definitely were not one or two. I think they're like maybe third or fourth across all of last year. I'd probably throw like Genji, then Heretics, then Sen, then EDG. But then Liquid just like owned. They own this team with like some crazy comp. Like what is this? Like you're never gonna see any pro team like actually run something like this. It's like there's something with Nats and like playing on certain maps. Like it's like the three bomb site maps. He just I don't know. Just Gambit did the same thing against Envy and Masters Berlin on Haven. Then they just roll through pretty much. And then they play Vitality. I did not watch this game unfortunately. I fell asleep like halfway through map one, I believe. But I mean, barely like not barely, but like getting reverse sweep is kind of nuts versus Vitality. Like Vitality were like one map away from like not winning EMEA. It's like Liquid are legit. Like they are definitely like top three in EMEA. And like the only real test that they didn't get was KC. Like every other team that looked legit. Like Fnatic did not look great. Na'Vi didn't look that great. Gentlemates looked pretty okay. Like nothing crazy. Like they played against every other EMEA team and like beat them. So like Liquid have to be legit. Like they've definitely got tested. Moving on to Trace, I think I'm gonna put them. I think there's honestly, I have more faith in Trace's upset potential because I think a lot more people are gonna be worried about EDG than they are Trace. Trace going to like double 13-4 in EDG. Their individuals are really good as well. Like Heibe's a really good flex player. Lil King, I guess, has been stepping up recently. Feng F and Kai are both like really impressive players. And then Byong obviously is like a very historied player in that game. Beating that energy core. Like I like the Trace roles as well, having the Raze Sentinel, the Jet Sentinel. I think Kai also plays the Yoru. But it's just like such a cool system to me of having like your duelist players play like two duelist players who like flex back and forth between Sentinel and duelist. Like that's such a sick concept. And they also play like the Deadlock Vice bind comp, which has been really good in China. It's like just overall like Trace look really good. They have really good individuals. And then making it to playoffs and champions is like really impressive. I don't think that they can again. Like they can, but it would be a really big upset. But I think Trace are a semi-legit team. Like I think this is probably like the closest a second place Chinese team has been to like EDG, other than maybe Shanghai FPX before they crumbled in champs. And then that leaves us with Vitality, who is going in the second tier slot. This team has really good individuals, and they don't have an actual controller player, but they're flexing the controller player, like the controller role around. You can see map 1, it's safe. Map 2, it's kicks, I think. Map 3 is Trex. Map 4, less. Wait, what? This team has really weird roles. I'm just gonna say that. But, like, they're having less play smokes, safe play smokes, kicks playing Owen on Haven, and then, like, wait, yeah, kicks is playing the Omen, Trex is playing Brim on Bind, Les is playing Astra on Abyss, and Brim on Fracture. It's just, like, interesting how they have 4 different players, like, switching the smokes. But, I mean, they look good individually. Like, maybe not across the entire series, but like map to map, like one player will just take over. Like this map is like Durka and Les. This map kicks and safe. This map it's safe, like where you go from like one map -11 to like another like +10. Like truly, like any player on this team can just step up on a map. Like Trex did not this series. He was towards the bottom consistently. But I mean, that's like a surely a one-off case, right? Like, um, I don't know, maybe Trex not performing well in this team, but I mean, he's like one of the better players in EMEA. Like, yeah, this entire series he was 1 and 2. So I mean, just like Trex also has like the potential to be like a top player for the team and just like pop off. I think Vitality has slightly better players than G2, but G2 have such like similar skill level players. Giacomo, Valen, Leaf right now. Leaf is just shooting. Um, Jonah P's been really good form. Trent has been insane form again. Like he's back to that Masters Reykjavik form, um, where they like looked almost as good as Optic. Um, like they honestly should have won against Optic if Marv didn't have that ace. Like they look like they're like Trent looks back in that form and they look like that hyped up again. They have a lot more experience now. They have like an experienced player in Jogamo winning the Champs Trophy 2023. Leaf is just a much more experienced player than Net. I mean, just this team overall just has so much more experience. Valen's like such a sick IGL. Like he's probably like one of the best IGLs in the game right now. Like he's definitely up there with like Finesse, Sadak, Boaster of like just all time. Truly. Yeah, this is probably like where I'm gonna end this video off. I mean, I think there is like upset potential for every team. Like I think EDG could probably win the event. I think T1 are definitely the least likely. Trace are pretty. I think this is likelihood of winning the event, but I don't know. I think Trace have a higher, like EDG have like a higher low or a higher high, but I think Trace will have a higher low. Sorry. Like I think EDG in their worst form will play worse than Trace in their worst form right now. Overall. I feel pretty confident leaving this tier list here. I think this is pretty accurate as to how I would order it. Again, these two aren't interchangeable. Whoa, sorry. And then T1, if they for some reason like get back into their real form, like I think T1 at their peak form is like here. But like they just look like they want to play with Carpe instead of Sylvan, and that's just gonna take time. Like you can't do that in the middle of a playoffs and then have like 2 weeks to practice before the event. Like it's not gonna work too well out. Although, like this team, I think is definitely gonna be a favorite for Toronto. I see like Vitality winning champs or something. Like that's honestly how I see this. Like G2 winning, then T1, then Vitality. I might be wrong. I probably will be. Just looking at Liquid. I had that it was like one of the worst teams in VCT. I forgot to mention Kika. It was just like I think he was the highest rated player in all of EMEA after switching to smokes. Like Liquid has like really good firepower. Like I knew Liquid's firepower would be good, but like Knots on IGL was like something that concerned me from the NRG Super Team of last year. But it looks like I've been proven wrong fully. Like unless they flop at this event, which is possible, I'm not gonna just say it's not possible. But I think it looks rather unlikely that this team's just gonna fall off randomly. Like Padatek, Kamek, both super subs. Camo came into Koi, I believe, last year. Looked really solid throughout. Nats and Kiko were on Liquid last year, and Nats has a proven track record overall. Um, I'm really impressed with this event's like player quality. I mean, T1 should be better by the time the event comes around, so it'll be like here. Um, this is just like I think this is about where the teams are in terms of skill level, in terms of form right now. Right now as we speak. Um, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for watching Bangkok. I'm not sure if I'm able to go stream or if I even am able to. It's in Thailand, so I probably won't even have like the time to stream it. I'll probably be like in bed for most of these games. I'll probably watch them back or something though. But other than that, join the Discord. Talk to me about the pick'ems if you want. Like, subscribe, comment your thoughts. If I'm overrating, underrating teams. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch. Other than that, see you guys in another video.